All progress lives beyond comfort because comfort, though seductive, is the sworn enemy of achievement. It offers ease, but it demands stagnation in return. The moment a man begins to crave comfort more than conquest, he surrenders the blueprint of greatness for the illusion of peace. There is no invention born of comfort, no empire built from relaxation, no legacy carved from the pillow of complacency. Every soul who has ever pushed the world forward, whether by pen, by plow, or by purpose, did so with discomfort as their closest companion. You see, the law of growth is not kind, nor is it polite. It will stretch you, break you, humble you, and then rebuild you with stronger bones and wiser blood. A seed does not sprout in a silk bed. It splits in the dark, in the pressure of the soil, in the unknown. So too does a person rise. If your current life fits perfectly within the limits of your habits, then you're not growing, you're surviving. There is no glory in survival. Glory begins when you demand something more from yourself than the day before, and that demand comes with discomfort, friction, and fear. That is the toll gate of transformation. Think for a moment about every time you achieved something you were proud of. Trace it back. It did not begin in laughter or ease. It began in uncertainty. It began in fear. It began when you were asked to step into a room you did not feel ready for, to lift a burden you had not lifted before, to speak words you were not sure you had the right to say. And yet, you rose. Why? Because buried under all that fear was the undeniable truth that you were made for more. Discomfort was not your enemy, it was your alarm clock. Comfort whispers lies. Stay here. You've earned it. You'll fail if you try. It tells you that the cost of discomfort is too high, but it never tells you the price of regret. Regret is what grows when you choose safety over vision. It is the quiet rot of potential unspent. That is why those who build legacies, not just careers, learn to treat discomfort as a signal, not a stop sign. When something makes you uncomfortable, it is often the exact thing you must run toward, not from. The man who becomes comfortable being uncomfortable becomes unstoppable. Most people are trained to avoid discomfort, not because they are weak, but because they've never been taught that pain has purpose. Pain is feedback. It's proof that you are no longer where you were. That's the paradox. The further you go from your comfort zone, the closer you get to your capacity. The stretch is what sculpts you. Muscles grow by tearing. Confidence grows by enduring. If you feel strain, tension, confusion, good. That is the sound of your future being born. Those who wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect feeling, they wait forever. Nothing worth building arrives wrapped in comfort. The mountain does not lower itself to meet the climber. The climber must rise, and in rising, he must bleed, sweat, stumble, and rise again. Each fall, each doubt, each shaking step is not a failure. It is proof that he is no longer standing still. Greatness isn't found in talent or timing. It's found in the willingness to do what's uncomfortable longer than anyone else, to rehearse when others rest, to speak when your voice trembles, to move forward with shaking hands and a pounding heart. The man who owns his discomfort becomes the man who commands his destiny. There is no shortcut to this truth. You must walk straight into the fire and let it refine you. Do not envy the man who looks calm in his comfort. Envy the one who sweats in silence, who toils in the dark, who labors without applause, for he is forging a life that cannot be shaken. That man is building something comfort can never provide: purpose, direction, strength, and freedom. He knows that the path of least resistance only leads to the life everyone else has. But the life he wants, that requires resistance, that requires discomfort, that requires him to stretch into the unknown with nothing but willpower as his torch. Progress, then, is not an event. It is a decision. A decision to lean in when most lean back. A decision to say yes when everything inside you screams no. It is not for the faint, the casual, or the indecisive. It is for those who have decided that the pain of growth is always better than the prison of safety. Desire must burn hotter than fear, because fear, left unchecked, will paralyze the strongest dream and bury the boldest ambition. Every man or woman who has ever changed the course of their life did so not because they had no fear, but because their desire was greater. Fear is natural, it's biological, it's the voice of preservation, but desire, true, consuming desire, is spiritual. It's the whisper of potential, the call of destiny. When the fire of desire ignites the soul, fear becomes nothing more than smoke. Visible, yes, but without substance. You will never find a path to greatness that isn't littered with doubts, dangers, and the looming shadow of failure. That is the reality of progress. But you must understand this. Fear is not your enemy. It is simply the gatekeeper. It is there to test how badly you want what you claim to desire. Fear asks one question, are you sure? And your answer must be louder than your heartbeat. Your answer must be your action. Desire does not tiptoe. It moves with conviction. It pushes past trembling knees and sweaty palms. It refuses to sit in the waiting room of life. A man with weak desire will always be mastered by fear. He will find reasons not to begin. He will postpone, procrastinate, plan endlessly, but never act. He will tell himself that now is not the time, that the risk is too great, that others are better prepared. But the man who has made up his mind, the man who wants it, will move forward despite trembling. He doesn't need permission. He doesn't wait for the fear to leave. He walks into the storm because the fire inside him burns brighter than the darkness ahead. Desire is the fuel of persistence. It is the reason some men rise from nothing and build empires, while others, with more advantages, live lives of quiet resignation. If you want something badly enough, you will do what most won't. You will stay up later, rise earlier, risk rejection, endure judgment, fall down and get up, again and again. When your desire is strong, excuses dissolve. There is no room for them. You become dangerous, not to others, but to every limitation that once held you captive. You become a force, not because the world changed, but because you did. There will be voices, some outside, many inside, that tell you to stop, that you're not ready, that you're too young, too old, too inexperienced, too average. Fear speaks many languages, but desire only speaks one. Move. That's it. Move. Keep going. Keep pressing. Keep breathing life into the dream. If you can do that long enough, you will discover something incredible. Fear begins to lose its grip. It's not that it vanishes. It just no longer commands your decisions. That is when freedom begins, when fear no longer steers your ship. You must remember, the most successful people in the world weren't fearless. They just decided that fear wouldn't decide for them. They felt the same doubt, the same anxiety, the same risk of failure. But their desire was forged in clarity. They knew what they wanted, and they were willing to pay the price discomfort demanded to get it. When you want something deeply, genuinely, without condition, it doesn't matter how long it takes, how hard it gets, or how many people doubt you. You simply do not stop. Fear often grows in the absence of action. It thrives in delay. But action feeds desire. It keeps the flame alive. Every step forward adds fuel. Every small win fans the flame. Even failure, when used correctly, becomes fuel. Because the man who fails in pursuit of his desire is not defeated, he is simply being refined. That kind of man cannot be stopped, because his desire is not tied to ease or comfort. It is tied to something deeper, identity. And when you believe that your dream is who you are, you stop asking if it's possible. You start asking only what's next. Fear is loud in the beginning. It yells, it intimidates, it warns. But when you keep moving, it becomes a whisper. And eventually that whisper gets drowned out by the sound of progress, by the beat of your own momentum. That's when you realize fear is loudest, when you're closest to a breakthrough. It shouts because it's desperate. It knows that if your desire burns just a little hotter, it has no power left. Pain is the proof of movement, because nothing in life changes without resistance. Nothing grows without tension. Nothing improves without friction. If you feel pain, it is not a sign of weakness. It is evidence that you are in motion. It means something inside you is shifting, stretching, evolving. The man who feels no pain has either stopped growing or never started. Pain, for those with purpose, is not the enemy. It is the indicator. It tells you that you are breaking out of the ordinary and stepping into the realm of possibility. Too many people treat pain like a stop sign. The moment it appears, they retreat. They go back to what is familiar, what is easy, what is safe. But safety never built anything worthwhile. Safety preserves what is. It does not create what could be. If you want to build strength, you must endure the strain. If you want to grow confidence, you must face rejection. If you want to master a skill, you must embrace failure. Every worthwhile transformation is purchased with pain. There is no way around it. You go through it or you stay exactly where you are. Think of anything in nature that develops: a muscle, a tree, a diamond. The muscle tears before it strengthens. The tree bends in the wind before it roots deeper. The diamond is formed under pressure no man can endure. And yet we humans expect progress without pain. We pray for strength but avoid struggle. We dream of impact but flee the discomfort that comes with change. It is a contradiction that kills more potential than failure ever could. If you feel pain, congratulate yourself. It means you are no longer numb. You are no longer stagnant. You are on the move. Pain strips away illusions. It reveals your limits, yes, but more importantly, it reveals your capacity. Most people don't quit because they are broken. They quit because they mistake pain for failure. But pain is simply a message. You are in the process. When you work harder than you ever have and your body aches, that is movement. When you take a risk and it doesn't go as planned and embarrassment creeps in, that is movement. When your heart breaks because something you believed in didn't work out, that too is movement. You are not falling apart. You are stepping into something new, and new always comes with pressure. The only place without pain is the comfort zone, and the comfort zone is the graveyard of ambition. It is where dreams go to die, wrapped in soft excuses and easy routines. But the man who is willing to lean into the discomfort, who does not panic when it hurts, that man is on his way to something great, because he understands what others do not. Pain is not a punishment. It is the pathway. It is the sculptor, the chisel, the fire. It carves out the parts of you that can't come with you into your next level. It refines your character, sharpens your discipline, and clarifies your mission. Too often we wait until the pain goes away to begin again. But what if the pain is the very signal that you're in the right place? What if it's not a reason to stop, but a reason to keep going? Anyone can move when it's easy. Anyone can show up when it's convenient. But those who move through pain, those who rise when it would be easier to rest, those are the ones who build legacies. They have learned the secret. Pain doesn't mean something is wrong. It means something is working. Every new version of you will cost you the old one. That is the price of movement. And that price is often paid in discomfort. But no one regrets it in the end, because what comes out on the other side is stronger, wiser, more focused. You don't just change what you can do, you change who you are. And that, more than anything, is what makes the pain worth it. The pain you feel today becomes the strength you carry tomorrow. The lessons learned in the valley become the wisdom you speak from the mountaintop. So do not seek to avoid pain. Do not pray it away or fear its arrival. Let it teach you. Let it shape you. Let it remind you that you are moving forward, even if slowly, even if clumsily. Because if you are moving, you are growing. If you are growing, you are living. And if you are living with purpose, then every pain has a place. Every ache has a reason. Every challenge is proof that you are not stuck. You are in motion. Comfortable kills dreams because comfort is not the reward, it is the trap. It is the soft pillow that smothers ambition. It is the silent lullaby that lures your potential into a deep sleep. Comfort is the most dangerous prison, not because it chains you violently, but because it convinces you that the bars are there for your protection. It whispers that you have done enough, that you deserve to rest, that risking again is too dangerous. And while you listen, your dream, once loud and burning, starts to fade, not in a blaze of failure, but in a quiet death of inaction. A man who chooses comfort over courage does not live. He merely exists. He might have a job, a house, a routine, but inside he knows something is missing. That fire that once lit up his eyes when he spoke of possibility is gone, not because he wasn't capable, but because he chose to stay where it was safe. Dreams demand discomfort. They demand sacrifice, risk, boldness. The moment you stop pushing, they begin to drift out of reach. Not because they weren't possible, but because you weren't willing to remain uncomfortable long enough to claim them. Comfort is clever. It does not come announcing itself as the end of your journey. It shows up as small choices, skipping the gym just for today, not making that call, ignoring that idea, saying maybe later one too many times. It doesn't kill your dream all at once. It does it slowly, bit by bit, day by day, until one morning you wake up and realize your life is full of things that feel good but leave you empty. And the dream you once held so close now feels like a stranger. You didn't lose it, you drifted from it. By following comfort instead of conviction, Every person who has ever done something meaningful has had to make peace with discomfort. The athlete who pushes his body to the limit, the artist who shows their work to the world and risks ridicule, the entrepreneur who stakes everything on a vision others don't believe in, they all know that comfort is the enemy. You cannot chase greatness and cling to ease at the same time. One must be surrendered for the other. The man who tries to hold both ends up with neither. He lives in the middle, never fully alive, never fully asleep, just stuck, numbed by the temporary pleasure of comfort and haunted by the memory of a calling he ignored. The painful truth is this: most people won't reach their dreams not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because comfort seduced them into settling. They chose the known over the possible, the familiar over the fulfilling, the routine over the revolutionary. But the dream doesn't die because the world said no. It dies when you stop saying yes to the unknown. Because everything you want, the impact, the freedom, the legacy, lives just beyond what feels easy. That's where the dream waits, not in the chair, but in the challenge. The greatest lie comfort tells is that you are fine as you are, that striving is unnecessary, that the hunger you feel for more is dangerous. But that hunger is your gift. It is not something to be silenced. It is something to be followed. If you still feel it, even after all the delays and doubts and setbacks, that means the dream is not dead. It's just buried under layers of comfort. Dig it out. Fan the flame. Remind yourself why you started, not because it's easy, but because it matters. The day you decide that comfort is not your home is the day your dream begins to breathe again. Not because everything becomes easy, but because now you are willing. Willing to be uncomfortable, willing to stretch, willing to risk, willing to be misunderstood, tired, doubted, whatever it takes. Because you finally understand, comfortable kills dreams, but discomfort revives them. And the dream was never supposed to be safe. It was supposed to be worth it.